of the day, the Insights Tech Showcase. Before I kick it off, I'll just remind you to leave any questions you have in that Q&A box throughout the session, and we'll just get to as many of those as we can at the end. But I'll go ahead and hand it over to Chad and Sarah.
Hey everybody, welcome to our session on AI for next-gen insight leaders. This is presented by Vurvey and also by myself, Chad, founder and CEO of Vurvey, and then Sarah Nagel, who runs Vurvey Labs, which is our research team, specifically working on AI powered by people. What we have planned for today is a 30-minute session to go through an overview of our platform. But specifically, we want to get into an introduction to agents. Agents have been coming on strong over the last half of the year around how you can use them to really accelerate research, insights, and concept creation. And so we want to show you some of the really interesting features we're launching, also provide a demo and some use cases from different brands. But our goal is really to equip you as the next generation of insight leaders, where you can use agile research, but also co-create with consumers at scale. And then hopefully we'll have time for some Q&A. For Sarah and I, we have a combined 45 years of experience of doing consumer research, and primarily for CPG, retail, healthcare, hospitality, those types of brands. As many of you know, there's a lot of weight that goes on your shoulders from doing lots of different kinds of tasks throughout the day and week, from recruiting consumers, generating discussion guides, conducting research, analyzing all the research, and then putting together deliverables. It could be mini slides of PowerPoints, video reels, etc. It's just a lot of time that goes into not only conducting research, but also presenting it out to the team. And over the last 20 years, it just grew very frustrated with the amount of time that it took for myself to go do research. Because by the time I came back, maybe like 2 weeks later, the business had moved on. And so the insights that we were presenting were kind of dead on arrival and stuck in a PowerPoint. And for me, I wanted to really understand a little bit more about how I could change the way that I'm working to move as fast as the business was moving. And so still keeping the heart of the consumer at the center of everything we were doing. And so I launched Vurvey around 4.5 years ago, with this fascination around AI. And this is all pre ChatGPT and OpenAI, but really look at doing research around AI and how it could be used to really help with sense making, and kind of think like I was thinking around the creative process, and really shape this next generation of how us as insight leaders are using technology as a really big component of what we're doing. And you might think that technology is not synonymous with human creativity, but in our viewpoint is technology can actually help make us more creative, but also help expand the kind of the room of research where we can actually include many more consumers in the process. As I mentioned, we typically are working with CPG and retail brands to develop what's next from product creation, insights, and ideas. Specifically, the platform, the Vurvey platform, is primarily based off of three big pillars. The first one that we launched 4 years ago is called Vurvey Campaigns. Think of a campaign as a video survey, hence our name, Vurvey. We patented the video survey around 4 years ago, but it's a really interesting way to collect data, more in like a quali-quant type of method, where you can run campaigns, test new ideas and concepts, even go in store or test ideas at home. Lots of different ways you can collect research, but it's always putting the human in the frame and having them be able to share, and express their ideas fully. I think everybody's really familiar with video research and how that's come on lately. The second was that, as I was doing research, I also had a bunch of data and documents. It could be from trend reports or past interviews that I did where I have transcripts and things like that. And I really wanted an easy way to upload data and then to analyze it, summarize it, and generate new ideas off of it. The third leg of the stool is agents. And this is really going to be a focal point of our particular talk today, because I believe that agents have a transformative power right now for enabling all of us with superpowers to do more, where they can scale and remove some of the frustrations or barriers that have existed in consumer research for quite a long time. So our perspective is, as you at the center of still doing research, is really to deliver these superpowers that gives you this idea of being always on. We want you to have always on access to people so you can run campaigns really quickly and collect insights and ideas. But you also have some additional capabilities where you can synthesize data very fast, but also generate different visuals. I know myself, as I went to design school, insights, aren't always just a bullet point or a video. Sometimes they're a visual idea that needs to be expressed for people to understand it and experience it themselves. And so, you don't always have access to an agency or designer to do these things. And so by combining all of these pieces together, it really helps to create, a set of tools and capabilities that you now have access to deliver insights to the team in a really scalable way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through 3 different agents, on screen, and then share screen of our platform, so you can see what these look like. The first agent I want to talk about is the research agent. So whenever you sign into Vurvey, we'll provide different agents as a starting point for you. And so the agents are based off a lot of experience of having trying to accomplish different objectives and tasks, but you can use them across lots of different use cases. So a researcher is obviously going to help us do additional work with finding themes, digging into pain points, framing insights and ideas in a different way, but really looking at lots of data on your behalf to find things. You can also use an agent to represent a consumer. So many times we've all been in research where we have maybe 2 or 3 standout consumers who really represent what we're after. And so using an agent, you can actually train it on that particular consumer or profile, build it out, and then allow your whole team to then have conversations with them to dig into things like their routine, pain points, and things like that. So if you're running hour-long interviews, you can actually turn those transcripts into an agent, so you can talk with them and share additional insights and ideas. The third agent I want to show you is a designer. So like I mentioned before, being a designer, you typically got asked kind of last minute to help visualize some of these concepts. What this superpower is really giving you the tools to visualize different concepts on your own. So using specific prompts and this agent, you can actually create new product ideas and concepts extremely fast, within seconds. But the key is to have them grounded on the consumer feedback and insights that you gathered. We've all seen different visualizers out there. We can create ideas, but none that have really been grounded in the consumer and the pain point. And so I want to show you some examples of how that takes shape. So I'm going to jump over into the Vurvey platform and give you a quick overview of some of the features. So let me jump over this tab real quick. When you first come in here, you'll see the home, which will take you to a generative interface where you can actually start your research. So you can ask it questions on the market or different themes, trends, different things that you're really exploring just from the home. And then you have access to a set of different agents that can be reflective of different tasks that you want to do. So think of these as different assistants, but you can also look at creating different personas of consumers focused on different territories you're exploring, or profiles of different people that you can actually click on and start a conversation with them. Campaigns, which I covered in the beginning, but just want to give you kind of a visual reference so you can see what these look like. You're running video surveys out to collect kind of early stage research ideas, test concepts and things like that. And the really big thing here is beyond just giving you a summary of certain insights, giving you a way where you can actually start a conversation with all of the data that you collected. Normally, everything's kind of fitted to a PowerPoint, but you want to interrogate the data later on. So we wanted to give you a way to actually have a conversation with all the data that you collected through here. And then the last one is data sets. So as you're collecting different files, trend reports, transcripts, PowerPoints, Word docs, you name it, you can quickly create a new data set, upload the files into these. So if you have trend reports or things like that you want to analyze, you can actually upload those into the data set and start a conversation with those. So specifically, I'm going to jump to this other tab where you can kind of see in a specific workspace where we've created the agents that I just mentioned. So we've got the research agent out here. We've got the product designer, right here. Ava, who's a skincare persona that we built based off of a lot of the skincare research, is here, and you can click to start a conversation with them. You can also create an agent of yourself to analyze some of the data and ideas in a specific way that are unique to you. So lots of different opportunities for how to create these. Let me jump into one so you can see how they're constructed. You can give it a background, a description of what it's supposed to do, and then a bunch of different instructions, and you can change the temperature to make it much more concise or more creative. It's kind of up to you on how you want to build these agents. But think of this as you're building almost a super team of different collaborators that you want to work with through the creative process. The way to start or to use an agent, I'm going to jump right to this one so you can kind of see some of these flows. So before I even got started with doing research, and this is specific to a sleep company, we wanted to explore, what are the common pain points, or what's the experience around sleeping today, and what kinds of questions do I want to ask? And we're trying to explore the overlap between sleep and beauty. And so just asking the agent to give us some suggestions on what we can ask, through here, you can launch these as a part of a campaign. And then once you're getting the data back, let me show you this thread through an agent. I'm creating a new conversation through here, and I'm clicking on the icon down at the bottom so I can select a specific campaign that I ran that I want to include in the research. I can also select the agent that I want to use specifically to this conversation. And through here, I'm asking the campaign that I ran, where I collected all this data, to give me a quick summary of some of the key insights around product features, different applications and usage, but also some ideas of what I might do with these. So I'm continuing to interrogate the data we collected and look at some of the opportunity areas that are coming back from these. So if I kind of click to add in an agent, like go into Ava and add her into the chat. So you can look to add these kind of ad hoc as you're working through different insights and ideas. From here, it's generating different ideas that from the data. And you can format these however you do concepts, depending upon how you want to frame these up, by a title, description, benefits, etc., who you might target with this. But then I also wanted to use create some visuals around what these ideas could look like. So I asked it to give me some prompts to put back into here, and then used not Ava, but I wanted to use the designer to help me visualize these in a really interesting way. So I can select the agent I want to use for this line of work, and then from here I can put in the prompt into this box and click generate, and then turn it into some of the visuals. And so you'll quickly be able to, you can quickly iterate through this process, download images to put into any sort of deliverables that you're wanting to share out, and get some really interesting inspiration for the team of how these, how these ideas and concepts could take shape. The key thing to really, really remember around this is that all of the insights and ideas that are coming through here are all grounded in the consumer data we collected from a campaign. So it's not just like going to ChatGPT and generating a bunch of different images. These are actually grounded in the consumer. So you have a dotted line back to verbatims that consumer said, and key insights to share with the team. So, and this will happen in a matter of seconds where I'm kind of quickly iterating through this process. I can use some shortcuts like backslash to generate images, generate charts, tables, or longer form content where I'm using the agents in different ways, but truly thinking about them as kind of extending or enhancing the team so that I can do lots of different kinds of things where I'm doing research, but also creating new ideas and share these back out to consumers to get feedback and to iterate on these. All of these live inside of your conversations. So as you're doing work, throughout the time, you can, just come back to some of these conversations, through all the different images you've created. So we're just giving you really easy ways to create and generate all different kinds of things, build agents that are really helpful to the research that you're working through, and helpful for your customers. So jumping back into, the slides, kind of walk through a demo. This is actually one of the images I generated that you just saw through that last night. So it's obviously happens like super fast. But for me, as I'm kind of equipping different teams and companies with how to think about insights in a completely new way, is to look at more of an AI first approach to how we're collecting data, but also how we're using that data to create ideas extremely fast and then putting back to consumers, not necessarily to just validate one time, but just quickly iterate through the process in a really fast fashion. I'm a big believer in, not only the way that we're building AI, but that, we're the only AI company that's actually grounded in consumer data. You have a lot of different kinds of AI wrapper companies that, are using ChatGPT in different ways to get that. We're actually grounding all of the data that's coming back or all the insights that are coming back in the consumer voice and what they're doing. And these have really wide applications from, from market research and consumer research and insight teams where you're doing kind of scaled ethnography, journey maps, finding jobs to be done, but then quickly turning what people are saying into a visual concept, and expressing that in lots of different ways to put back to them, to iterate and refine, build the language around it, build the claims and the benefits, and then what are key visuals that can express those ideas, and even including Vurvey QR codes on product, so that consumers can scan and essentially share feedback directly to the product, and using agents to analyze all that data in real time and put back different ways to you of how that product could be improved. So we just really see this creating a 360 approach to how we're doing research, how we're creating and co-creating ideas with our teams, but also with consumers, and then how this could impact the products that we're making out in the world. And we're getting fast feedback on those, where we don't have to necessarily listen to social channels. This is all feedback that's coming directly back to you because consumers feel like they're part of the process and they feel like they're a valued member of your team. As I mentioned, V-Team launched last month out at Google. There's a bunch of different articles on our site you can check out that go a little bit more in depth around the partnership with them, how we're using different LLMs to generate insights and ideas, how we're creating visuals and things like that. So please check that out if you get a chance. And then I just want to touch on a couple quick case studies of how this is getting applied. For a lot of teams, we're not necessarily siloed into only insights. That's typically the teams that are embracing a lot of this change and moving everything from early stage insights through concept and product creation with our innovation team, and actually moving it through testing in home, in store, and the market launch. So kind of moving through the entire process very, very fast to allow all teams to collaborate, have full access to agents and full access to the data that we're collecting, but having material impact at the end where you can launch better products and ideas because the consumer now can be embedded every step of the way through this. So if you go back to that, the kind of the spider diagram, the diagram, exploding diagram of the person at the center, the goal is really to try to superpower all of the things that you're doing, and then create this always on approach where now you have access to talk to all your past data. You can generate visuals now, but those are connected to people, and share different ideas. We would love for you to sign up or use the QR code at the bottom to sign up to see an in-person demo around some of the things that we're working on. And then also Sarah and I lead a podcast on Spotify and other channels called AI Powered by People, where we interview different guests around their journey through insights and ideas and innovation to share their perspective as we're all collectively building this platform and building this industry together. So would love to open it up for questions. I can stop sharing my screen so I can hopefully see everyone.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chad and Sarah. That was really great. And Chad, it's very evident that you have passed in design because the platform looks really lovely and
Thank
easy
you.
to use. So that's great. Yeah, and for everyone who maybe was joining a little later, this session is going to be available on demand and as soon as I end it, so you can catch up there. Also, there's a big button on the page that says book time with me that will take you right to Chad's calendar if you want to book some more time. So we have a couple minutes for questions here. Feel free to drop them. I'm going to go through the ones we have so far. How do you know that the results you get back are accurate?
Yeah, I mean, all of it. It's all about grounding. So you'll start to hear the term grounding or reg come up more and more this year. What grounding means is that it's not just using an LLM that's trained on the internet to give you the response or the result. We're actually using the transcripts and the video of consumers, and so it's grounded in those results. So, it'll push back a response that you get, and then you can see the sources of where that came from to make sure it's clearly kind of like a one-to-one relationship. You can think of it as kind of like a footnote, or where you're citing where the data is coming from. And that really adds to the trust factor that I know that it's giving me the right answer.
Got it. Thank you for covering that. How do you see this impacting quant research?
Sarah, do you want to jump or I can?
Sure, yeah. Impacting quant research, I think that it's offering you to do quant and qual at the same time, which is really powerful. So for a qualitative researcher, like I'm trained, I'm able to not only collect the qualitative research that I desire to find, like the stories and the why and understanding how to create products, but at the same time, I'm also able to, with agents, be a quant researcher and kind of enable that team to be able to explore those types of questions and collect that type of data. So I think the beauty of Vurvey as it comes together, I think qual and quant, I know Chad used quali-quant, but it comes together and you can do that with the V team.
Yeah, and what we're starting to see is that teams are also running, I guess, deeper qualitative research with fewer people, and then using agents, you can actually scale that out to more, to take on more individuals. So you can, run a couple campaigns, maybe with like 5, 6, 10 people, build agents on those people on that segment, and then extrapolate that out to do more predictive modeling and different types of things around some of those insights.
Thank you. And congratulations on the launch of B Team, by the way. Very exciting. Must be
Thank you.
A busy time of year for you guys.
Yeah.
A couple more questions here. Can you use existing data sets to train your?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have a whole tab called data sets where you can just create a folder, upload all the documents you have. It could be, PowerPoint, Excel docs, et cetera. And so those upload and get indexed within seconds, and then you can immediately start to talk with the data. So there's nothing like being able to upload a PowerPoint and Excel doc and then immediately cross-reference the data across multiple documents, and also add in your campaign that you ran to find any of the correlations between the different data sets that you have.
Yeah. What we found is really great with our clients is they have, years of research, like all of these research reports that they can then upload to Vurvey. So like Chad said, you can speak to that. That can also help inform what you're going to learn next. So, you can bring Vurvey and all the research that you've done previously together on the platform.
That's great. I think the last question here, are you able to help train agents for the team of one of your clients or someone who's using?
Yes, I'd say that's probably our favorite part. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of, I know this is new, right? And so as we've been working in this world for the last 4 to 5 years, agents it's a new phenomenon. It's a new way to work, and we've built out. That was one of the reasons why Sarah and I launched the podcast, is we wanted to essentially do research in public to share insights, ideas, things that we're working through, as a whole company, but also be available to build out specific agents for brands and teams that are unique to them. So as they're using Vurvey to collect a lot of data, also brainstorm how we can, what agents are going to be in your team. Do we want to build agents that are reflective of your personas or your segments, or also unique to certain workshops you have coming up, where you want to enable the team to quickly generate new concepts and ideas. But not to speak for Sarah, but that's like a really fun. It's a really fun activity to build as a team with brands.
Yeah, it's been really fun to explore. So part of it is like, do you want to kind of have your existing team, or like where are ways where like weak points? Are there areas that you can augment your team? Like for myself, I'm a qualitative researcher. I want to be able to surround myself with agents that, don't have my skill set, so it can give me those superpowers that I'm after.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks for answering that. I'm sure you guys are really helpful for everyone who's just, joining Vurvey for the first time and trying to figure it out. So I think that's all the questions we have. We are right at the end of our time. So thank you both so much for joining and sharing all those insights. And thanks everyone for being in this session. You can catch it on demand if you missed a little bit at the beginning. And Chad and Sarah, appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you in the next session.
Thanks so much. See everybody.
Bye.
Bye.